Back at it, live and direct, live and direct. As I said, you're gonna get that stream. I don't know when you're gonna get that stream, but you're gonna get that stream. Time wise, I don't know. I'm like, I think I started like 13 minutes from now yesterday. So like it looks like it's gonna usually be in the evening time. Sometimes not, sometimes yes, but it looks like it's usually gonna be in the evening time when I stream. So anywho, we'll continue with the Myron, Nick, and Tate podcast. So we're just gonna keep it going. We're gonna keep it going. We're just gonna keep it cooking. Just gonna keep dragging information out of this shit. I know this says 9 hours. That's just only because Myron had kept streaming beyond when they had their conversation here. So we're not gonna watch all 9 hours of this shit. It's just like it looks like that way, but it's not like that. So anyway,
in their houses, and I thought this is crazy. So that's when I started to blow up online and get big. And I never began the crusade intending on becoming the most Googled man in the world. A lot of people don't actually know that in 2022, before I was arrested, I was saying to Tristan, this is the story of Icarus. We're way too big. They're going to come and they're going to get us. Turns out the UK Foreign Office wrote to the Romanians, and I have that on.
And literally, I'm telling you guys, I just hop on the stream and I instantly think of something ridiculously important to tell y'all, bro. Like, I'm actually a genius. Okay. So, one thing you'll realize, you know, speaking especially about like vision and you imagining your future success or your ambitions, right? Your vision and your imagination expands based on your capability. Meaning, the more skills that you gain, the more capable you become, the more goals that you achieve, you realize that you can actually start thinking bigger. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's hard for you if you have no skills. You're a 17-year-old, you're 18 years old, you have no skills to your name, nothing to your name. It's hard for you to say that, you know what? I want to put a rocket on Mars, like Elon Musk, for example. I want to put rockets on Mars. Well, it's really hard for you to say that with extreme confidence when you have no current skills or capabilities, right? It's almost like you can have big dreams and aspirations for your life, but they feel like dreams and they feel very far away. They feel like an imagination to you because your skills and abilities are not currently relevant to that. But then if I told you, hey, here's all of Elon Musk's current intelligence and all of his money and resources, I give it all to you. All of a sudden, you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to make this shit happen now because my skills and abilities, or I've gained the skills and abilities of someone who's doing that currently. So I'm saying this all to basically say right now is that as you gain more skills, as you gain more abilities as a man, what ends up happening is your vision grows and gets bigger, right? You might think right now that you're not capable of a lot of shit. And you're right. You don't have any skills right now. You're not very capable. You know, you're not very smart, not very intelligent, not very well studied. You know, you're not really good at much right now. So, of course, you don't really think you're capable of much. It's just like, that just makes sense. Why would you think you're capable of amazing shit if you don't do anything? But as you start taking action, right? As you start making moves that are going to make you stronger, make you better, allow you to gain skills and abilities, as you start setting goals and achieving goals, you're like, oh, wait, I can actually achieve things that I set out for. You know, I've gained this skill and this ability and this skill. You know, this means I can do this way bigger thing because if I combine all my current skills and the resources I've gained on the path of all the goals or from the path of all the goals I've currently achieved, I can actually achieve this bigger thing now. So it's like what you'll notice is that as you continue to improve and get better, your imagination and dreams can grow bigger. So anything that you're currently imagining for your life right now that might feel kind of far away, it's actually not that far. You're just not good enough yet. And this is why your dedication to improving and getting better as a man is so important, because the better that you get, the bigger your vision can become. But you just got to start with what you got right now. Right? And if you take care of what you got right now, if you set, even if they're small goals, like just getting to the gym, working out, it all starts from there. Action is the ruler of all. So just start making moves, bro. A lot of things that you imagine right now that you think is impossible for you is ridiculously possible. You just have to start moving. So great way to start out the stream there. I'm telling you, like, it's just because I was just thinking about just how like Tate had said, like, I didn't expect to be the most Google man on the planet, but if you think about all the skills that Tate had gained before he was that, That's what led to that. It's because like if he wasn't already who he was before he became the most Googled man, he wouldn't become the most Googled man. Does that make sense? It's like you gain the skills and abilities, and this kind of relates to what I was talking about yesterday on yesterday's stream, how like you get luckier as you improve and gain more skills and abilities. Like as you improve as a man, you just tend to start getting luckier because you're just better at things. You just have more opportunities that you can actually capitalize on. So for him, it's like he had improved enough to where he could become the most Googled man on earth and take full advantage of it because you already had the capabilities ready. Everything always goes back down to action and building skills and abilities, right? The stronger you get, the luckier you get. The stronger you get, the bigger your vision and imagination can become, right? It just all comes down to gaining power through action. So let's keep it cooking.
Paper, I have proof of them doing that, saying, shut this guy up. He's a national security issue, because they knew that my momentum had to be stopped. And if I were to continue to red pill and continue to mobilize the young men of the world, that they would lose their grip on society. And that's why to this day,
it's true,
the UK government has an active warrant for my arrest, because they know if I go to England, the Bruv party will win the next election. They know that. So the second I land, I get thrown into jail for basically everything.
It seems that like he's serious about even running for office too. His Bruv party thing, I think he launched it on Twitter or X a while back. That might have been like months ago, like 8 months ago. I think he had launched it on X. Let me see if it's even still there. Just to check real quick. Hold on, y'all. Bruv party. Yeah, nah, it's still existing. Has he even posted on it? I'm gonna show y'all. Hold on. Right here. Bruv party. When's the last time he's even tweeted on this? Oh, 5 hours ago. He's been talking about this shit. Maybe somebody else runs the account for him. This one's the UK getting more and more unlivable. Yeah, they're wilding over there in the UK, bro. Like, niggas are getting attacked for just putting up a UK flag. Literally just putting up the British flag. Niggas are getting attacked for that shit. In Britain. Isn't that fucking wild? Imagine that your own flag becomes a sign of resistance. You know what I'm saying? When it's just like, I love my country, I live here. But it's seen as a sign of resistance. Like it's seen as a bad thing to love your own country. It's like they're just so fucking cooked. But yeah. Let's continue with the conversation here. All right.
Ever. And that's what they're doing to try and keep their grip on power. So a lot of it was just my own conclusions. And then I saw how upset everybody got by me saying these things.
Oh, you're talking about a red pill.
If people are getting so mad by it, there has to be an element of truth to it. If I sit here and say the sky is green, everyone will ignore me. They don't care when you lie.
Yeah.
They care when you say things that are close to the truth. And I kind of ran with it. And I wouldn't say there was any particular thing I read. A lot of it was just personal experience and tying it back to all the same problem, because I believe patriarchal societies, if our society became patriarchal tomorrow, we could instantly fix 95% of the issues we currently.
It's true. We're just super cucked out, bro. Like we're so ridiculously cucked out. It's not even funny, bro. It's like so annoying. Like so many issues is just because we got too many guys that listen to women. Like if we just all men in America just stop listening to women tomorrow, we'd be fine. We'd be able to fix this shit within like a year or so. Like a bunch of shit, the birth rate, all this shit, bro. Like we'd be able to fix so much shit. I thought like feminists are so stupid when they talk about the patriarchy. I'm like, bro, we've been listening to you bitches for the past like 5 decades, bro. This is not no patriarchy, bro. Obviously, the men still are the ones who enforce the power and the law or whatever, but it's completely female rule. What the female mind says is what goes nowadays. Like by far. It's like ridiculous. In the court system, online, like it's the female mind. Like the fact that something like the T app can exist. And for those of you guys that don't know, the T app was basically this app where women can talk about men who they date. Like, let's say girls are seeing certain types of dudes on dating apps. They can go on the T app and be like, hey, do you have tea on this guy? Do you have information about how this guy moves or whatever? Like the fact that an app like that can exist and it's not getting banned, it's barely getting ridiculed. Most of the men are kind of looking at it and are like, haha, the T app, right, is ridiculous. Like, because you can only imagine if men made a different kind of app, right? That's basically the same thing, but we're just talking shit about women all day, bro. It would be taken down immediately. The the feminists would absolutely revolt. Not even only the feminists, men who are simps for women would come to their aid and be like, yeah, we need to get rid of this. This shit is bad. This shit is evil. So like we're so ridiculously occupied, not only by Israel, but by women too. So it's just funny in that way.
Currently face. And if you look at the societies which are actually succeeding now, if you look at the Middle East and the societies that are successful from a birth rate perspective, from a safety perspective, from an economic perspective, they're all patriarchal societies.
Yeah, it's true.
And my major point I was making is that the West has now become a
This is why niggas talk about Dubai so much, because they like it's so ridiculously controlled there. You know, they have a monarchy and the guy actually cares about his country and there's absolute rule. So it's like when you have absolute rule and have that power, you know, you're able to make the place that you live safe in so many degrees and make the area successful to so many degrees. Obviously, you know, when you do have a ruler with absolute power, there's amazing upside, but there's also like strong downsides because they do have a slave class there. They do have a slave, like there's niggas who are enslaved in that motherfucker, which is unfortunate, of course, but it's just kind of the price you pay in that kind of system where somebody has absolute power like that, where he can make harsh but good decisions, but the harsh decisions will also have a harsh downside. Like there's a hard consequence. Yes, the place is super safe. It's super great. There's no LGBT or, oh, there's 69 gender. There's none of that bullshit there. Everything is nice and clean and great and normal, right? But then you obviously get the unfortunate downside that there is a slave class. Like there's literally niggas who are enslaved. So, you know, obviously no system is perfect, of course, is what I already say here. No, like, government setup is always going to be perfect, but you know, we could, it's subjective right now that a place like Dubai is a lot better in terms of quality life compared to like here right now, because we're divisive here, you know what I'm saying? Everybody's arguing about everything at every point in time, so it's like it's almost impossible to get shit done. And then when you just add this in with mass immigration and feminism, it's like, come on now, like we're cooked. Something that I've said that at least now is like we're at a point where, and I think this is just important to talk about too as well, like we're really at a point where I honestly believe modern day politics is just literally good versus evil, you know. And this is something I've said before. I would like to think that back then, you know, when it came to politics, at least from liberals versus conservatives, it was actually good conversation going on. You know, liberals were trying to make sure that there was no glitches in the system. You know, like for example, when you played like a fighting video game before and one character has this weird ability where they can't like die or they don't lose health. It's like some hack or whatever. And so when you try to fight that character, it doesn't matter how skilled you are, you'll still lose because they can't fucking die. So that's like a glitch in the game. And it's only natural to be like, hey, we need to get rid of this glitch so niggas actually have an opportunity to have a fair match. Like that makes sense. And I would like to think that liberals in the past were like that. You know, and conservatives were more like, hey, you guys have the opportunity. Everything is fair. You guys have the chance to succeed and do whatever. Like the system is running well. Let's make sure the system is nice and competitive so everybody's moving forward and improving. And the liberals were like, okay, let's make sure the system is actually functioning well. There's no glitches in it. Like this was good. It felt like, you know, the conversations back then would seem to have been better and been a lot more productive. And I would say I believe this is the case because it was masculine, right? It was masculine debate. So even if you were a man and you were a liberal, it was because you were always looking for glitches in the system that could be fixed to make sure everybody still has opportunity. You know what I'm saying? Like it was actually, this is like men's way of thinking because it was more patriarchal back in the day, like 1950s time. You know, what we have now though is just chaos. People who are like, hey, I don't actually think that you can just choose to be a man or a woman. I don't actually think that there's a billion genders. Hey, I don't actually think it's a good idea to bring in billions of people here or millions of people here, and then they don't really assimilate to the culture and follow any rules, and they want to completely change the nation. It's like, this stuff sounds pretty obvious. You know what I'm saying? But to the average liberal nowadays, that sounds like, you're a Nazi, you're a fascist, you're crazy. Like, even any small, understandable criticisms are ridiculed into oblivion. And it's like, it's ridiculous because we're in this position where it's like, you niggas are just evil. There's really nothing to say here. This is literally just evil in itself. This is literally just evil you're dealing with. Like, my point that I'm basically trying to make here is back then, things felt more reasonable. Or I'd like to think think things were more reasonable back then in terms of the conversations that were being had from a political standpoint. Now it's literally like just the fact that Trump had to say himself when he was running his campaign that we're going back to common sense shows where we're at. This is what I'm saying. We're at this point where it's just good versus evil. The fact that he even has to say that, oh, we're going back to common sense is ridiculous. That means we're just against people who are evil. You know who doesn't like common sense? Evil people. And this is why I look at liberals as evil, you know? And not maybe that they're inherently evil, but I would say a lot of liberal people are weak-minded. So naturally, you know, they're easier to sigh up or convince of nonsense, you know? And being liberal is more of a feminine mentality nowadays. It's like when you're a liberal, it's like, okay, because any man that's a liberal is basically not a man. Like, let's keep it 1,000. Like any liberal that's a man, you're not a man. Like you're basically just a girl in a man's body. Let's keep it 100. So that pull towards just ultimate, they just have this natural pull towards ultimate chaos. Let's let everybody do whatever they want. Everybody should be tolerant of everything. Everything is good. Nothing is bad. If you see anything is bad, if you're critical of literally anything, you're Nazi, you're evil, you're whatever. This is how evil people operate. So I don't even see politics modern day as politics anymore. I just see there's people who want standards for things. And then there's people who just want chaos. They're not interested in any consistency at all. It's just chaos. You know what I'm saying? So it's just it's really unfortunate. You know, I would like to think politics back then was better, but like now, nah, it's just chaos now. And this is also why I always say that you need to become as strong as possible, bro. Because you can only not fall to evil when you're strong. Weak people always fall to evil. In the same way, like if you're weak and you start getting even slightly tortured, you're gonna crack. And everybody kind of gives in to torture eventually. But my point is, like, if you're weaker than somebody than somebody else and you start getting tortured, you're going to give in sooner than somebody who's stronger than you. Makes sense? This is why you need to become as strong and as capable as possible as a man nowadays, because it's literally good versus evil. Like if you're not strong and capable as a man in today's day and age, you're just going to end up doing evil shit. You're going to agree with evil shit. So this is just something really important to keep in mind, and just something that I've just personally realized modern day politics is like niggas are not arguing about shit no more. It's literally just good versus evil. It's like, hey, let's have standards, and then people are like, no, let's have chaos. You know what I'm saying? All right, we keep it going, y'all.
Patriarchy. America is a matriarchal society currently as it stands right now today. Even under Trump, it's matriarchal. Mm-hmm. If a man,
it's just like like I said, it's only still a patriarchy because we're the ones who control force, right? And violence is really what controls everything. But it's completely utter like female social order by far. Like not even a debate about that.
And wants to have power. If he wants to be in Senate or be a politician, he has to parade his wife around for some reason. Putin doesn't have to parade his wife around. I've never seen the king of Saudi parade his wife around. What do their wife even know about politics? Why are they there? I don't know. But we live in this insane matriarchy where women have so much power over men, and they're using it to suppress and destroy the most masculine of men, which are the ones who are going to be tasked with defending the society.
Yeah.
So I always had this gripe with that and that alone. And it turns out that big women are as powerful as big pharma.
Because even thinking to yourself, do you think any of those liberal fucking dudes are going to be the ones that are willing to die and fight for women? No, them niggas are going to be running and scared too and be running behind masculine men as well. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's just, it's stupid. It's literally so retarded. So I'm saying it's just the pull towards evil. It's just the pull towards evil.
Big education and big Jew, because they fucking came for me. They did not like what I said. And they came for me hard. And of course, they accuse you of crimes against women because it makes perfect sense for them to attack you with it. And here I am, 11 court cases deep. I've been federally investigated by the American government, the British government, the Polish government, the Hungarian government, the Romanian government. No one has enough evidence to put me in jail, showing that I'm actually completely more innocent than the man you walk past in the mall. If anyone else went through this level of shit, they'd be in fucking jail.
Oh, yeah, be cooked.
Also, tying back to our earlier conversation, there is part of me that thinks I've been through all this shit, and then I get called a Jew and a Fed? Like, because I was the one who was red pilling the generation. I was the one.
That's even why I talk about, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, the whole, at least when it comes to, like, this is what I mean when I say that trust is earned, not given. Because if someone's been through a lot of bullshit, you know, a lot of bullshit that most men wouldn't survive, it'd be hard to not trust this guy because he's went through the pain for it. Like pain is basically the only way you can trust someone. Like what somebody's willing to put themselves through is the only way you can trust them or not. That's how trust is earned. How much pain are you willing to endure on the behalf of others will show how much someone's going to trust you. This is also what it means to be a leader. Like how much pain and suffering are you willing to go through for others? This is what would make other people trust your leadership because they're like, hey, man, this guy's willing to put his entire life and body on the line for the rest of us. Like, of course I want him to lead us, or I view this guy as a leader, because he is the highest stakes. I also talked to, I believe that was 2 streams ago, how I was like, well, you can never really take women's opinion seriously. Why is that? Because women don't have any stakes. Their stakes are just not as high as ours. You know what I'm saying? We could potentially have to die in war for this country, for example. They don't have to do that. They don't have to sign up for the selective service. So naturally, we have higher stakes. So our opinions and what we say matters more, just off rip. That's just how it is, because we could have to die. We could have to pay the ultimate price, whereas they don't have to. They don't have to fight in war. They don't want to. They could stay here and be completely fine. And this isn't a bad thing. This is just understanding that men and women are completely different, which is, it's good. It's good to know that. It's good to treat each other differently because we are different. And that's good. We have our own ways of operating. So it's just good to understand that, because then you avoid taking women's opinions seriously when they don't really have stakes for their opinions, whereas we do. This is just like the kind of stuff that's important to understand. Like, even too, when it comes to trusting someone, it's just like, it always goes back to the pain, the suffering, and the risks that you take. That's how men are always going to be viewed. That's how we just view each other in general.
Who took all this risk to help everybody?
And that's at least what has helped me, like, even trust these guys, because these guys have been through a lot of shit for what they've done. So it's like, it's hard not to trust them because they've done so much to basically earn it. So, but anyway, that's how I think you guys should definitely be looking at other men too. It's like, okay, what is this guy willing to go through? What has this guy gone through? Because that's really where the trust comes from.
And now you go on Twitter and call me these things. It does, even though you don't care, it does make you think, well, what's the point in trying then? And this is why the elites win, by the way. Especially in my position. I have $700 million liquid. I can just fucking fuck off on a yacht and say, fuck those peasants, and just go be one of them. And I don't do that. I sit here and I try and tell the truth and I try and be honest about things. And you get so little gratitude for it.
Yeah.
That I do believe when I'm talking about how our movements are subverted by the extremity on the inside of the movement. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. And as Nick continues on his run.
And he also, too, remember what I said even a stream ago. I was like, that's what it means to be a hero. There is no everybody cheers for you. Everybody's happy to you. Everybody listens to you. That's being a hero is just endless suffering the whole time. And you only get the fulfillment you truly get is knowing that you lived and died by the right thing. That's really all the fulfillment you get. Everybody, it's because you're so used to seeing movies and shit where, the hero ends up getting celebrated and everybody loves him and whatever, when it's super far from the case. And I'm not saying that there hasn't been people that have given Tate his flowers or Nick his flowers or Myron his flowers. Of course, there's been people who have done that. But if you compare that to the level of hate or disdain that they've received, it's like heaven and earth difference. It's almost like it's drowned out. The gratitude is basically getting drowned out. So, it's important. It's important. These are just all really important things to understand, just about life in general and just as a man in general, bro. It's just like, when you're a hero, it's not glamour. It does not look good. Everybody hates you. Nobody listens to your advice. Nobody really cares what you went through, to do the right thing. Only you get the fulfillment of knowing you lived and died by the right thing. That's really it. That's what it means to be a hero.
As he becomes more and more powerful, as he does more and more fantastic things and becomes a larger and larger political force, when X amount of his own movement turn on him and start calling him a Jew for something he once said, even he's going to sit there and go, this is fucking, what the fuck am I even trying for?
That's funny as shit. That is true. It could.
And that's what happens. So all in all, mine was just personal experience with women, bro. I mean, I didn't have to watch Fresh and Fit. I knew what was going on for a very long time.
Yeah. And I just added to what you were saying.
But watching that shit definitely helped a young nigga out. I'm not going to lie. Because even when they were banging off or starting off back in 2020, like watching that shit, it definitely woke me up to a lot of shit, bro. It definitely, like, combining that with my personal experiences and my personal endeavors, also with watching that, I'm like, boom, these bitches are cooked instantly. I was like, oh, this ass for sure. Kevin Samuels too, as well. Like he did. I mean, I guess that was more of the black side of things, but it's like it's all the same. The programming is still the same for the women, bro. So yeah.
Because you were saying like obviously patriarchy just went in general, and I would argue COVID was also like a big red pill, because since women tend to defer to the masses, the fact that we locked down, the fact that we had all these scares, that I think is very indicative of how much we value the communitarian nature of women.
Well, the reason they're so scared of me,
it literally controls the whole way that we think and everything that we do, bro. That's what I was even basically saying with the whole way that politics work now. Like before, when you looked at politics from a conservative and liberal standpoint, it was a lot more cerebral. As I was saying, it was like the liberal men were basically looking at it, hey, let's make sure there's not glitches in the system. They were being logical. Remember, I gave you guys like the video game analogy, like making sure that characters are balanced and don't have weird hacks or abilities like infinite health is important to a society to keep things running well. And it's right to revolt against a system or a game or be mad at the creators of a game or the developers of a game if they have a character that has infinite health and you can't beat them no matter what you do. Like it makes sense to do that. You know, and then on the other end of this shit, it's also important to have the developer say, no, this is fine. This is how the game works. This is okay. You can overcome this. Like, that's a good balance. That's a masculine way of thinking. But now we're just in the feminine way of thinking, right? From both the liberal and the conservative side. From the liberal side, it's just chaos. Everything is great. We should be tolerant of everything. We also deserve everybody's resources and tax dollars or whatever from the liberal side. From the conservative side, we just allow women to behave whatever way that they want to, and then we still give them everything. It's complete, isn't that obvious, you know, clear, feminine way, like politics has been completely been feminized in that way. So it's interesting to see how the masculine and feminine, the difference of what politics look like depending on who's in control.
And the reason they're trying to get rid of me is because when you have women in charge of a society, you can use emotional arguments. It's not complicated.
Yeah.
You put women in charge and then you use an emotional argument to manipulate the women, and the women yell at their husbands and Matt Walsh says, okay. And then they sit at home all day. And that's what happens.
It's true.
So COVID was one big emotional argument, but grandma was the fucking argument for locking us all in our house for years. That's a female mentality. A man would sit and say, well, grandma's going to die anyway. Grandma's 94 and I need to go to work. So men can be more ruthless and more logical. So yeah, COVID was one big psyop run from the matriarchal frame, all of it. And every single man who was scared of his wife got the vaccine because of grandma.
As I even also said yesterday, like, once again, I didn't go deep into depth of the whole COVID situation because I didn't give about politics and the bigger picture of things back then. But I would 100% believe with the way that society is currently, this is more than likely the truth, bro. So.
And every single man who was in charge of his women said, none of us are getting the vaccine. This is bullshit. Shut up and turn it off and live their life as normal. So yeah, absolutely. And the primary objective of the Matrix, and I'm fighting a different fight than Nick and a different fight from you, but I truly believe the reason they are so hard on trying to make sure in every movie, in the culture, in the law, and all of these mechanisms that women are above men is because they can simply scare the women or use an emotional argument on the women. And if they're in charge of society, then they have absolute control over the society and they don't need to convince us of anything. Yeah. Men must be convinced. You have to convince me. You don't have to convince a woman. You have to scare her. And that's much easier to do when you put up some Chinese dude falling over. I never saw anyone fall over on the street, but in China, supposedly they were falling over left and fucking right. And chicks had a mental breakdown. So I went to war against that because I saw it was all just a matriarchal mindset. And maybe at a level deeper, yeah, certainly there are groups and people who are doing this on purpose and weaponizing women against men.
Because these niggas know. There's definitely niggas in the government. There's niggas in high places right now that know that, oh, like, the women are destroying society. Feminism is destroying society. Or basically the mindset we are giving women is destroying society. You know, a lot of people will say it's the Jews because Gloria Steinem, who was basically the main pushers or the leader of feminism or pushing feminism in the 1950s. So it's like, oh, it's the Jews who did it. Well, that could be the case for sure. But it could be them. It could be other people. It's like, it's just a really dangerous situation that we're in right now, you know? And as I already said, unless the nukes start flying, I can't see a path where things suddenly change out of nowhere. It'll be like a slow decay. And then the only people that will be left is the masculine men who will be here ready to fight, you know, to fix the system from the ground up. So we'll see.
Certainly weaponize women against me. I mean, I'm the fucking, from personal experience, they call 1,000 women who know me and they find one idiot and I get dragged to jail. I mean, they certainly weaponize women against me. So perhaps women are not the tip of the spear. Perhaps they're the foot soldier. Perhaps they're the pawn and not the king and the queen. That's another argument. But that's where all of my mindset came from. And that's why I was on the crusade I was on. And a lot of people misinterpreted, and a lot of stupid people in my own movement misunderstood me and thought that means that you can beat the shit out of women or shoot them or run around, you know, and all these crazy things, which once again gets applied to me and I go to jail. And that's not what I was saying. I was saying that the world's a happier place with men in charge. That's what I was trying to do.
Which is obviously true. And it's not even about hating women, hopefully at all, from anything that I said in terms of me being critical of women at all. You guys have never taken it to like, oh, I hate women. No, it's just more like understand how they operate and how their minds work. That's all there really is. Because once you understand, it's fine. It keeps you in control. It keeps everybody happy. When everybody understands each other, everything is great. Right now, we've had way too many men, or in current modern society, we have way too many men that do not understand women at all. That's a really big issue. Because when you don't understand them, they do things they should not do. And that hurts everybody, including them. You know what I'm saying? But if you understand them, you prevent shit like that happening. But so many men and so many women are obviously too far gone. So because when Tate rose, they were hating him. Like, that's why they hated him so much. You know, because there's so many men and women are too far gone. You know, it's crazy when you actually think about it, but it's just like, understanding has always been the goal. That's always been my goal of everything I do, all the content I post, everything I do for the fam. It's always been about understand these things. Because when you understand things, you become lethal. You become capable. You can manipulate the world in a way that's beneficial for you and those around you.
What about you, Nick? I'll repeat it because I know we basically.
No, I remember.
Okay,
It's
what red pilled you?
Yeah, I got red pilled back in 2016, and it was a process like it is for everybody. I was a basic bitch conservative when I was in high school because I read all the libertarian stuff and I read all the conservative and neoconservative stuff, and I was a Ben Shapiro fan. Enough said. Yeah, that's just what there was. You know, back in those days, if you were a mainstream person, you had PragerU, Breitbart, you had, the usual suspects. And what red pilled me, Trump was a big part of it. Sam Hyde was a big part of it. But I had a buddy of mine. He was like autistic. He was a straight up Asperger's genius. And he was on 4chan all the time. And he was a good friend of mine. We were in Model UN and other stuff together. And I'll never forget, I must have been a junior or senior in high school. And he called me into this room.
Yeah, during 2016, I was not giving a fuck about politics at all, which I was saying last stream. Like, I did not give a fuck at all. I was even more confused. I'm like, why are these niggas so mad at Trump, bro? Is this really that deep? Like, I was literally sitting there confused. I'm like, what's wrong with you niggas? Like, to the fact that, like, my principal literally had to come on the mic and be like, everybody, calm down. It ain't that deep. I know everybody got their different political views and opinions. I'm like, political views and opinions? I'm like, what's going on, y'all? Is this really that deep for you niggas, bro? Like, I was honestly surprised.
When we were setting up for our Model UN conference, and somebody goes, "Oh, Nick, there's a sophomore that's saying the Holocaust never happened." And I was like, "Really?" So I go in, I hear him out. I said, "Yeah, that's sort of interesting." And then we went and we campaigned for Paul Nealon that summer, a couple of years later. And I was hitting him with all the Israel arguments. This was in 2016. I'm saying, but they fought 4 wars of extermination against Israel. Like, Israel is this island of civilization in a sea of barbarians. All the usual shit.
The sound key. It's crazy how cap all this shit is now, bro.
And he fought back and made the case for the Palestinians and for the Arabs and all this. And I said, wow, that's really interesting. And what really did it for me is I got to the point in college. There were a number of other things that happened to me over time. But I got to the point in college where I said, is it all a Jewish conspiracy? And I thought to myself, there's got to be an argument that it isn't. Like, there must, are they really suppressing this truth? There's got to be like a book out there that debunks all this stuff. And then what really did it for me is that I'm not
learning the truth about shit be too lit, though. You know, and I always say to you guys that it's so important to be as curious as possible, bro. There's literally nothing more beautiful in this life than knowledge. Ignorance causes a ridiculous amount of pain. What you do not know is what is currently hurting you the most, y'all. Like, I cannot stress this shit enough. Like, what you do not know is what is currently hurting you the most. You cannot act on information that you do not have, right? You cannot act on opportunities that you're not aware of. This is especially true when it comes to your goals and shit you're trying to achieve in your life. You know, this is why I always urge to be seeking out those who've achieved what you want to achieve, because they can breathe perspectives into you that you never thought you could have. They can breathe beliefs into you that you never thought you could have. They can tell you about opportunities you never thought that you could actually take advantage of. You know what I'm saying? Whereas if you don't know, or if you don't know these things, if you haven't been aware of these things, what ends up happening, like, you don't get those opportunities. And this is really what makes knowledge beautiful. It's not about just even knowing things. Like, who gives a fuck if you know things? What matters is you taking action and applying things. That's what really matters. The action takers rule the world. This is why there's a lot of smart people that are broke, that are bums, that are irrelevant. And there's a lot of dumbasses, a lot of retards that are super rich and super relevant and super influential, right? Because action is what matters, not knowing. Knowing is not what matters. Action is what matters. But to act in a way that is beneficial to you, to help you achieve your goals or achieve shit you never thought possible for you, you need to know things. Application comes from knowledge. You can't apply something you don't know, right? This is why you must stay as curious as possible at all times. This is why you need to be gaining as much knowledge as possible at all times. You always need to be learning every single second. You always have to, because the more you know, the more you can do. I'm telling you, it's ridiculous how important this shit is. Like, I cannot stress this shit enough, bro. The more that you know, the better your life gets, because you only suffer a lot of the pain that you suffered. And even if you just think to yourself right now, like, think about if you knew everything you knew right now a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, how different do you think your life would be? You'd probably think like, oh, Ollie, nigga, damn, I would be doing this. I'd be moving here. I'd be doing this thing. Exactly. And that's the power that knowledge has. And the only way you can basically ensure you're never lacking is to always be learning and gaining more knowledge. That's the whole point here. That's the only way you can be like, at least I didn't wait too long to learn this particular thing. At least I didn't wait this long to gain this knowledge, because you've already experienced the pain of waiting too long to learn a particular thing. You've already experienced that pain. So don't allow that shit to continue because you're like, I don't need to learn that shit. I already know enough. I already know everything. Nigga, no, you do not. Or you would have everything you'd already want right now if you knew everything you think that you need to know. So you always have to be learning. You always have to be getting more knowledge, bro. I'm telling you, it's super important. So let's keep it going, y'all.
9/11 in 2016 during the election. If you remember, Hillary Clinton was like not well. She was sick. And on 9/11, she did a thing with Donald Trump, actually. They were both in New York for the anniversary of 9/11 on the same day, and she fainted. And they literally picked her up like a rag doll and threw her into a van. I don't know if you remember that video, but she was literally like rag doll, and they fucking tossed her in a van.
That's fucking wild.
And then 5 hours later, they had all these explanations. They said, oh, it was too hot. Oh, she actually had pneumonia. And she comes out of Chelsea Clinton's apartment and hugs like a little girl. And it's like, wait a second. So first you said it was too hot. Then you said she has pneumonia. But if she has pneumonia, why is she hugging this kid? And everyone in the media lied about it. And in that moment, I knew if they could lie about this, they could lie about anything, because they're willing and they're able to lie. And if people are not...
I'm telling you, y'all, this is what I'm saying. Like, you cannot, even at least we're in a really good period now where like social media exists. So like, you don't have to rely on only mainstream media like we did back in the day, where everybody was getting their news all from the same place. So if that news chose to lie, everybody got lied to and nobody could really question it because everybody's getting their news from the same place. Thank God for like X, for example, or even TikTok. Like, TikTok basically red-pilled a ton of young people, you know, to the whole Israel situation. But even thank God for Elon Musk too with X. Like, he's allowed so many people to be able to speak freely and actually speak the truth about a lot of shit. So we're at least in a great, you know, period of time where we can actually tell the truth about a lot of shit. you know, that we otherwise wouldn't be able to know the truth about a lot of shit because we were all getting our news from the same place. But it just makes it even more important to understand that anybody can lie to you for whatever reason. There's no reason to believe that the media is all on your side. Like, these are still run by people and people lie. Does that make sense? Like, you got to understand, like, everybody's still human at the end of the day. If you're just assuming that there's just humans running around that are completely benevolent and are always making sure to get the truth out, you're wrong. There are men like that exist, but there's also a lot of men that can be easily corrupted and choose to lie for whatever reason. So it's important to always look at every information, any kind of information that you see with a grain of salt. Obviously, you guys probably heard me say this like a million times now. Like, you should never be formulating your opinions on anything from a 10-second clip. That's fucking dumb. That means, hey, because I mean, they do this already because they know niggas still do this. It's just like, if you can get manipulated to feel a very strong emotion about something or someone off a 10-second clip, you're ridiculously easy to control, right? And I can even just delve in this a little bit too and just say this again. If you can formulate a ridiculously strong opinion or feeling about someone or something off a 10-second clip, you are super easy to manipulate. You could be made to do extreme evil shit. You can be made to do really evil shit. If all I got to do is show you a 10-second video of some bullshit and then you believe that shit, now you could be a soldier for evil easily. And you don't want to be a soldier for evil. I would hope a lot of you guys watching this, I hope all you niggas in the fam, right, don't want to be evil and don't want to be soldiers for evil. And the only way you can avoid doing that is to not get easily convinced of shit. It's not to be emotionally charged when you see some news or you see a video on social media. Because anybody can lie. Anybody can lie. Humans lie. We do this shit. Like, everybody fucking lies. Humans lie. And because humans lie and humans create the news and spread media around, you can't afford to just see something and then get a strong emotion behind it to the point that you want to take certain action. Understand? Because that means you can be made to do evil shit. If I can just be like, okay, just show that nigga that one clip and show that nigga that one clip, boom, we could get these niggas to fight each other. While everybody else sits in the background and just rubbing their fucking hands. You know what I'm saying? Like a fucking Jew. Just, look, I'm getting these two niggas to fight right now. Because they were so emotional or they were easily manipulated by a 10-second clip that I showed them. And you don't want to be that way, you know? Men who are truly righteous and are good people are very hard to convince. Super disagreeable. Because they want to do the right thing. It takes effort to do the right thing, guys. It takes effort to know actually what the truth is. It's easy to just believe anything. And because it's easy to just believe anything, it's super easy to do evil shit without knowing you're doing evil shit. So the only way you can prevent yourself from doing evil shit is to be hard to convince. Even if somebody's showing you a 10-second, 30-second, 1 minute, 10-minute clip, you got to be like, let me get some more information on this. Let me see the other side of this. Let me see who the enemy is. Let me collect all the information around this whole situation. Let me know what the context actually is. It takes work to be a good person, y'all. It takes work to actually be a truthful and righteous man. And you have to be willing to put in that work so you can only ever do good things. So you can go down in history as a hero. Because heroes put in the work to be good men. They always do. So you got to make sure you put in the work too. Don't get easily manipulated. You should never be believing anything, regardless if somebody says it, you see it online. No, you need to get the full story before you even formulate even a slightly emotionally charged opinion. Anyway, keep it going, y'all. I want you guys to stay heroes. Everybody in the fam got to be a hero, bro. And the only way you can do that is to make sure that you go in and out of your way to fight to make sure you are actually seeing the truth.
Not willing to investigate it or dig deeper because of censorship, because of, it's a regulated press. I said, then they could lie about all this stuff. Yeah. And that, for me, that's when I realized this, like, benefit of the doubt could not be afforded to any narrative, because that's really what it is. No one has investigated. The vast majority of people at that point had not investigated the 9/11 truth movement.
And I would just like to think throughout history, like, millions upon millions of men have died, y'all, over lies. You know, especially the whole Holocaust situation, the whole World War II situation, the whole Hitler was a bad dude situation. I'm telling you, because the victors are the ones who write the history books. Anybody could fucking lie. And everybody, what I would say here is more that everyone is in a position to gain from lying. You know, eventually the truth always comes out, like I always tell y'all. The truth always eventually comes out. But in the moment, everybody has everything to gain from lying because you lie and then boom, nobody knows you're lying. You know, you get away with shit. You know, Israel's just now getting their karma now, you know, because they couldn't hide the bullshit that they were doing on October 7th. They couldn't hide that they were actually the aggressors. People started researching and being like, hey, man, what's really going on here? Are the Palestinians, is Hamas really bad? Wait, why are they mad? Boom, you go down the rabbit hole and you realize, oh, these niggas have been doing horrible shit to them for a very long time. And it changes the whole narrative, you know? And all it takes is for somebody to omit some information or lie about this here, and then your complete vision of a situation, you know, can change. So I'm saying you have to work hard to actually be a good person, y'all. Like, niggas think you could just wake up and be a good person. You can't. It actually takes a lot of effort and a lot of sacrifice to make sure you know the truth of shit. It's hard, you know? And that's what makes it righteous, because it is hard. Everything worth having in life must be worked for, as I always say.
Or the Holocaust, or Israel, or any of these things. All they had was the benefit of the doubt. That stuff is conspiracy territory. We believe the government. We believe the mainstream narrative. And I said, if they could lie about something that I saw with my own eyes, then we can't afford the official narrative, the benefit of the doubt on any of these things. And so that was the big break for me. It wasn't a book. It was just kind of this gradual noticing and kind of taking this tenuous frame, you know, for how to perceive things and just seeing it confirmed over and over. And then when I saw that, I said, it's totally plausible that they're covering it up. And that was it for me.
Shit. So that perfectly dovetails into my next question. So my next question is, what was your first comment, tweet, video, or anything else that forever put you in the controversial category? And I'll go first on this one, then turn it to you guys.
I don't know why I paused there.
The thing that got me automatically put in the box of, you know, misogynist or whatever, which is kind of like how all this started, was back in 2020. I made a comment saying, if a woman flakes on a date, you need to punish that bad behavior, and she's got to go ahead and pay for the first round of drinks when you guys meet up on the reschedule. Right?
Oh, was that the one? I swear there was one on TikTok that he made. I think the real one, or I think this even got these niggas banned, was like he was talking about, you know, I'm not surprised actually I remember this because I actually have a pretty good memory I've noticed about myself. But I remember he made a TikTok basically. I guess this is the one that he remembers that blew him up. But I remember there was even one that was really going crazy on TikTok where basically he was saying how if you have a girl who, you know, comes over to your crib and she doesn't want to smash you, what you basically do is be like, I bet. You go into another room and then call another girl on the phone and be like, all right, pull up on me. So basically what it does is it essentially makes the other girl jealous. Like, because she's like, oh, he doesn't want to smash me or whatever. Like, he's going to just smash some other girl. He's just going to toss me to the side, treat me like a commodity. And obviously the fucking women on TikTok were super mad about this because they don't understand the male experience of this. Like, you come over, we're obviously the premise here is for us to do something. And it's fine if you don't want to do anything, right? Of course. But it's like, okay, well, I want to smash somebody. So if it's not going to be you, it's going to be another girl. Makes complete sense. But a lot of girls were saying, oh, that's corrosion. That's evil. That's whatever. And I'm not even saying that necessarily you have to do that. But I'm like, you're well within your rights to do so. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, if you get your feelings hurt because a dude decides, hey, you don't want to smash, that's fine. If you don't want to smash, I'm going to go do something else now. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to stay here. So it kind of puts her in a position where she can decide to do whatever she wants. Like, she's not entitled to your time. You want to smash, that's what you want to do. Keeping it real. And if she doesn't want to do that, that's fine. You're not entitled to give your attention to her. And you shouldn't. You honestly shouldn't, because that's what you want to do. And it's only right to not give your attention to her or pay attention to her if she doesn't want to do what you want to do. Like, the fuck? Like, that just makes sense. But anyway, the women went fucking crazy over that shit on TikTok. They were so mad. They were like, oh, that's corrosion. You're basically pressuring her into sleeping with you, which you're not. You're just calling another bitch on the phone. You're not making her do anything. And corrosion means force or threat by definition. And by calling somebody else, you're not forcing anyone or threatening anyone. You're just like, hey, I'm going to go fuck with another girl. You can do whatever you want. You're not making her do anything. So that's just the video I remember where I'm like, oh, yeah, they were getting super mad at this nigga for that. So.
And like The View and a bunch of, you know, left-wing shows looked at it like, what, are we dogs? this guy's over here saying you gotta punish bad behavior. But what I was really doing was I was telling guys, like, you can't accept poor behavior from women and reward it. So you gotta, if she makes a mistake, you gotta make her pay for that. And they obviously likened it to training a dog, which, hey, maybe that's what I meant. But the point is,
because of emotions, and women tend to be retarded like that and just prioritize their emotions all the time.
Is that after I made that comment, because it went viral on TikTok, it got millions of views. And this is right after I had left the government, right? I wasn't even on the internet like that. And this is back when TikTok like still had an organic, sharing ability with the algorithm. So I would say that was the first thing that kind of got me in there. And then obviously a bunch of other things I said about women and, top H and all this other shit. But I would say that's the one thing that like started it. So what about you guys? I know you guys probably have a couple of things that like put you on the map, but what would you guys say is the most?
Because I think for Tate, if I really remember, and now during that period, I remember I wasn't even like, or I took a break from social media during that period. I'm like, you know what? Fuck this social media shit. Because I was during a period of my life where I was like, okay, I'm deciding kind of what I even really want to do going forward. Because during that time, at 2021, 2022 period, I was like, okay, it's either I want to be a professional soccer player or I'm just going to do some social media shit and become an entrepreneur through doing that. So I was like in this crossroad. So like, all right, let me just take a break from social media. Let me just sit with my brain, sit with my thoughts, and decide kind of what I want to do with my life. I don't know. I just like sharing these things, giving y'all a little bit of lore on my life. It's just fun to do that shit. So anyway, I'm going to let them talk.
Controversial thing you said that put you in this box forever.
Nick?
Most controversial thing that got me in there, there was a lot of things over
Probably
the
the
years.
racism,
one
probably.
thing after the next. I would say it was the cookie joke is really what did it because, and it's so stupid. It's always the dumbest shit, isn't it? It's never like your actual good jokes, your favorite jokes.
It's because it's slop. It's like niggas, bro. One thing I'll tell y'all about the internet, bro. The internet loves fucking cringe shit. It just loves slop. It loves low IQ nonsense. Like, it really, really does. And maybe it's just because the IQ of a lot of people on social media is just consistently dropping, at least based off stats that I've seen. And even if you guys see on my FYAM podcast, like I've talked to teachers, I'm like, are kids getting like dumber? And some of them have said it's like not necessarily that they're getting dumber, but they try less hard. But even when it comes to building your IQ or your intelligence overall of the world and your understanding, you have to like work for that. It doesn't really get handed to you. Your intelligence doesn't get handed to you. Obviously, your IQ is kind of like genetic, of course, but your capacity to improve your IQ can be done through effort and will. You can learn more things, right? Your IQ and capabilities, your ceiling might be lower, but you can still learn. Just like someone can be more talented than you, but you can surpass them in terms of performance through effort and will. Like you can improve at things. Like human beings are improvement machines. So that's kind of where I was like, yeah, like the internet just loves slop shit. Like it just loves slop shit, like slop nonsense, which is why that shit will blow up and they'll ignore all of your more, I would say, sophisticated talking points because a lot of niggas won't understand it. They'll just choose to, be caveman brain and be like, oh, he said that offensive thing. Like, because everybody can just resonate with just nonsense more than they can with actual coherent thought processes. So
it's always the stupid shit that they use. And, at that point, I got canceled in 2017 for just a lot of nonsense. And I was young and I wasn't very big. I was a very minor streamer. And then in 2019, I started to get a little traction because I was going really hard against Charlie Kirk and against Ben Shapiro. And it was going really well. And everybody was on my side. And what they used to kind of shoot me out of the sky was this joke where some super chatter sent in. They said, well, if the cookie monster has 6 million cookies, how long does it take to, whatever. And they used that to frame me as a Holocaust denier. So up until that point, they could have said I was.
Which everybody who's sensible is now at this point.
Oh, right. Well, that doesn't mean anything. They could have said I was a white supremacist. Okay, they call everyone that. But then they took that joke and said, oh, he's a Holocaust denier. And they literally, at that point, that joke was a year old. I didn't even come up with it. Someone else sent it. Not that I don't own the sentiment, but it was such a stupid fucking thing. And then I get the Washington Post calling me and saying, do you deny the Holocaust? Do you believe it was 6 million? And I'm like, really?
I'm like, yes,
so
I did.
That was kind of what.
Like, yes, I deny that motherfucker. Like, there's just no way. It's just impossible, bro.
really took me out for a minute, and but they call me fucking everything. So there's a million reasons I'm canceled, but that was maybe the big one.
Yeah. I still use that reference to this day with the whole Cookie Monster thing. I think it's like a funny way to kind of bring it up. But what about you, Andrew? What would you say is the comment or tweet or statement that put you in the controversial box forever?
Yeah, I was around for a while and I was telling the truth for a while. And then on a podcast in Croatia, we were discussing the age of women. And I said that men prefer women who are younger. You prefer a woman who's 21 as opposed to 30. And the people asked why. And I said, because she's been fucked less. And I made the point that the more men who have fucked her, the less likely she is to truly fall in love with you. So I made this point that it's not pedophilia to like younger women. It's
just kind of like the para bonding thing. It's just like if you've just been with more niggas, it's just you can only be satisfied by being with more people. It's just like something you get used to. You know what I'm saying? It's just like if you have a certain way that you eat food consistently, you're just going to tend to fall towards that minimum. Like even if your eating habits suddenly change, like it's just going to go back to that normal way of doing things. And that's kind of what happens. I mean, this is even statistically proven where like girls who are virgins upon being married are just less likely to get a divorce or leave their partner or whatever. So it's just what it is.
Trying to find a woman with less life experience because by and large, they've been fucked less than older women.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I made that point. The podcast came out. The next day, 400 different Instagram accounts had the same post and the same caption saying I was dangerous and misogynistic and homophobic. And
it's actually crazy that like, because I'm even saying something like that like now wouldn't be actually that crazy, which is funny. And obviously it's because of them, like, they, or Tate specifically, like he was saying all this shit already. So it's like normal. Everybody's kind of heard it before, but it's crazy. Like I'm just thinking about it now. Like that's like, that's ABCs. That's 1 + 1 = 2 now. In terms of it making sense. But like back then, it was like that was groundbreaking. That was literally groundbreaking just saying shit like that. And it just makes me surprised. I'm like, damn, we were fucking cooked. Because at least during that time, I was still learning a lot more about female nature and how the female mind works and whatever. But like, I didn't even realize how big of an issue this was from a societal way. Like basically, even back then during that period, I was still kind of like in that only me kind of vibe. I wasn't looking at the world from a bird's eye view. It was just more about just me and my current life. And I was just learning about female nature for my own personal benefit at that time. But like to realize that like everybody was cucked is wild to me, to be honest. So
racist all at once. I didn't even say anything homophobic or racist. They just threw that in there. And this is where I always knew the Matrix was real, but it was kind of flabbergasting. The next day I woke up and 400 accounts had the exact same post about me. Also, the ADL said I was anti-Semitic on this day. I was like, I didn't even mention the Jews ever at this point. I never even mentioned them. And now
it's almost like anything that you say that's even anti-establishment, they'll go anything or they'll do anything to give you as many labels as possible to basically like crush you. It's so interesting. Like it's actually just really interesting for me to hear this shit now and like really think about this shit because I keep on thinking about who I was or the way I was thinking back then during this time, and I'm just comparing it to me now. I'm just like, yo, this is so wild to think about how they move, or like I understand how they were moving now.
On that list. So that was really weird. And then 24 hours after that, I got the mass ban. Every single app on my phone logged out. My Gmail, my Skype, my Airbnb. I got banned on Instagram, banned on Discord. WhatsApp was banned. Every single application.
How you get banned on WhatsApp,
and they started putting me on the BBC saying that I'm dangerous and I was banned for being a terrorist.
Was this worse than depression isn't real? Because I remember when you said depression
wasn't real, got traction. And
I thought it was the Bugatti thing that actually blew him up. I'm going to be honest. Well, I knew it was like talking shit about women, but basically what happened was like he said what color is your Bugatti? Like I know a lot of kids in school were saying that shit. And kind of because he blew up off saying that, then they found out about all his other takes about like women and like real shit, politics, whatever. And then that's what made them realize, oh, this nigga is dangerous, So it's funny. I didn't even know it was like really just this. I mean, I guess that's what banned him, but I think shit he was even doing before, like that Bugatti thing, I even think happened before. I'm not exactly sure, but I'm pretty sure that's what happened.
People, were unhappy by it, but that was the one comment that really sent the world into overdrive. And I sat there and I thought, why are they so threatened by that? And the extension is very simple. If you tell men to have standards for themselves, you're now an enemy of the system because they don't want men to have any degree of standard.
They literally don't. They literally don't. They do not want any more masculine men. That's the whole thing. They want to remain in power. They want to keep the female social order no matter what. At least these people who are in power, who are evil, they want to maintain the female social order. So anybody who's even saying things are like, whoa, we can't have this shit. So interesting to see now. Or even just think about again.
And that's where the right-wing Christians and the Catholics hate me, because they're basically saying don't have standards. They're saying meet a woman and marry her and do the right thing. Well, she's probably a fucking whore, bro.
Which is true.
I'm not doing that.
Not even probably.
They say I'm a bad person. Well, I make a whole bunch of white babies. I'm white enough. When I find a white woman, my kids look white as snow. So I'm out here having white babies. And throughout,
we'll keep it going for like maybe 2-3 minutes, yo.
All of the bullshit I've been through, have any of my women betrayed me? We saw what happened with Crowder's wife and all these people. Have anyone come out and betrayed me? Some whores have come out and accused me of bullshit. Have any of the women with my kids or the women I'm close with betrayed me, let me down, or have they all stuck by me the entire way through? Like, I have good women around me with good loyalty inside of them. So I must be doing something right. But as soon as I told men to have any degree of standard for themselves and not instantly accept women and all their bad decisions, the entire system had a meltdown.
Crazy.
And I think that's what really red-pilled me and made me realize that, yeah, big women's a thing.
What year was that, Andrew? What year
2021?
Was that? 2021.
I think it's a couple layers below, perhaps, the true power structures at the top. But women are certainly the pawns. They're the foot soldiers. Convinced.
It even just makes sense, too, because of like with the whole Fresh and Fit blowing up in 2020 and then Tate in 2021. It's like it was just this rise of them even rising to power was like all men were thinking this shit during that time. Like they were all thinking of like, what the fuck is going on with these bitches? Like, why can't we have standards? Why can't we be critical of anything that they're doing right now? It's just really interesting when you honestly think about it. But anyway, we'll actually stop right here. So we'll stop right here. You know, we'll keep it going into tomorrow. I think we still have a while before, or just a bit more time before he breaks out with just Sneeko. Yeah, we have a lot of time before he breaks it out with Sneeko. Yeah, that's like about almost, let me see. Looking like, I don't know. Yeah. Probably another like hour or so. About an hour, it looks like. About another hour left that we got going through. And we're actually getting closer to the part that I already went through too, but we might just go through it fully. I'll decide, but yeah. So we'll just stop right here. And then, of course, you know what I'm saying? Got to shout out the socials for you boys. Oh, look, I already got X up already, so you guys will be able to see that. So we'll just shout out the socials, and I'll be out of here, fam. I also got, you know, another fan podcast episode coming out for you guys tomorrow and Saturday as well, so that should be pretty lit. Should be pretty fun. You guys can also let me know any questions and shit you want to ask or want me to ask the people out there on the streets of DC, because, you know what I'm saying, I'm trying to keep it player for y'all, of course, and make sure that you guys can benefit from the shit that I'm asking. If not, you know, I will obviously I'll preside over what questions I ask and make sure they're of the highest quality for you niggas, because, you know, that's what I do it for. I do it for you niggas, right? Well, I started playing myself on X. That's so fucking funny, bro. All right. Hold on. Get YouTube up for y'all. And we're good. And then we're good to go. Get this up too. First and foremost, because I just like doing it in this order. Check out your boy on YouTube, Ali Argundade. If you're already watching me on YouTube, appreciate that shit. Then make sure to like the stream so more guys can see this shit. You know, we can keep growing the fam. But Ali Argundade, you know what I'm saying? You already have all the success tip videos that I be making. It can help you out a lot for, you know, gaining a lot of mental models that can help you become more successful, of course. And then boom, we'll hit X2. As you guys saw me on here earlier, you know what I'm saying? Only got one nigga in here so far, but appreciate you for popping it up into the stream. And if you fuck with what you were just seeing, like the damn stream, so more guys can see this shit, of course. You know, Ali Argundade, fuck with your boy, growing the fam on here too, talking about political shit all the time on here, and just other like success shit, of course, you know what I'm saying? Because that's what we do, man. We're trying to be out here and winning. You know what I'm saying? Then we got the IG here too, you know, success shorts and tips. and shit like that. And also just fun skits that I like to make because I just like doing that shit. I think it's entertaining, at least to me. You know what I'm saying? We're going to keep evolving with that shit too as well. But, you know, same tag, Ali Argundade, of course. And the last but not least, the app that is never banned but should be banned. That is the Tick of the Talk. Follow your boy on here. Even if you don't have TikTok downloaded, because I know it's a degenerate app, download that shit just for me so we can grow the fam, of course, on here. Ali Argundade. Yeah, sir. Okay. And last but not least, if you fuck with this shit and you're watching on Rumble, like the damn stream on Rumble so more guys can see this shit. Make sure that they're gaining mental models that can allow them to achieve their goals and, of course, reach the peak of their masculinity, because why else would you be watching me, my nigga? You know what I'm saying? So make sure to like the stream and also turn on post notifications too. Like I said, right now, you're going to get that stream. Y'all going to get that stream. I don't know what time you're going to get that stream, but you're going to get that stream. I think I'm going to have to go earlier tomorrow because I got to go out and do the podcast, of course. But we'll see how the dice rolls tomorrow. But y'all will get a stream. More than likely. We'll see. But y'all get a stream.